At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy-saving tips from CUC so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to the 13th of 19 candidate forums for the 2025 general elections in the Cayman Islands, proudly hosted by the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce. My name is Omari Corbin, and I'm honored to serve as the current president of the Chamber of Commerce. Before we begin, I would like to sincerely thank West Bay West candidate Mrs. Julie Hunter for accepting our invitation to participate in tonight's forum. Mr. McKeever Bush informed us that he was unable to attend due to unforeseen circumstances. Mrs. Hunter, by appearing on this platform, you demonstrate a commitment to the democratic process and the people of West Bay West. Your presence signals your readiness to address the pressing issues raised by the community through a recent chamber survey, which has helped shape the questions that we'll be asking tonight. When the chamber was founded in 1965, it was built on the principles of supporting, promoting, and protecting the interests of our members and the wider community. Remaining strictly nonpartisan, we have proudly hosted these candidate forums every election year since 1988. We provided a neutral platform for 9 elections, allowing voters to hear directly from those seeking public office and helping our community make informed decisions on election day. The questions for tonight's forum have been carefully developed based on past and current chamber surveys, our 3-year advocacy agenda, and submissions from the public in various constituencies. No candidate has received these questions in advance, ensuring a fair discussion. As an organization committed to supporting a strong and sustainable Cayman, the Chamber's advocacy efforts focus on 3 key pillars: building a future-ready workforce, sustaining economic success, and advancing quality of life. The newly elected Chamber Council believes that these pillars are fundamental to the continued growth and prosperity of our islands. Looking ahead, the Chamber intends to collaborate with the incoming government to develop a government accountability scorecard, ensuring accountability and transparency. Additionally, we will seek representation on key government boards and authorities, as we believe our members bring valuable expertise that can help shape effective policies and initiatives. These forums require months of coordination, and I'd like to acknowledge the tremendous efforts of Will and our chamber staff who have worked diligently behind the scenes. I'd also like to express our gratitude to Ashley Furniture and Home Store, Foster's, CUC, and Logic for their generous sponsorship, which has made these forums possible. Additionally, we appreciate our media partners, Cayman Mall Road, Cayman Live TV, and ICCI FM for broadcasting tonight's event. We are live streaming the forums, making it easier than ever for voters to tune in from the comfort of their homes. We hope this added accessibility encourages even greater participation in the democratic process. And now, it's time to begin. I'll turn the proceedings over to Will Panu, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. He will introduce our candidate from West Bay West.
Good evening, Mrs. Hunter. Tonight, this forum is designed to give you an opportunity to present your positions on key issues. Here are the guidelines. You'll be asked 12 questions. You'll have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question. A bell will sound when your time is up, and I'd ask you to please conclude your remarks promptly. So after responding to those 12 questions, there'll be a closing 2.5 minute closing statement. Now to provide viewers, I'm going to give a biographical summary of Mrs. Julie Hunter, who's running as the Cayman Islands National Party candidate for West Bay West. She's a seasoned professional with over 40 years of experience in banking and the legal sector, and a strong track record of community service. She holds a bachelor's degree in English and theology and a banking degree from the Institute of Canadian Bankers, and earned her Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialist designation in 2012. In 2015, she became a qualified payment card industry professional. Mrs. Hunter began her career in the legal field, including serving as assistant clerk of the courts before transitioning into banking. At Cayman National Bank, she rose through the ranks from loans officer to vice president, managing branches and holding senior roles in compliance and risk. Throughout her career, she completed multiple leadership and management certifications, earning the respect of her colleagues and community. Beyond her professional life, Mrs. Hunter is recognized for her profound dedication to service. She's the founder and president of Circle of Love, a nonprofit organization she has led for over 17 years, focused on supporting families and promoting social inclusion. She has also mentored at-risk youth through the Bonaventure Home program and served in numerous church and youth organizations. Mrs. Hunter has been recognized on the National Heroes Day for her contributions to youth services in 2013 and volunteerism in 2023. Her campaign focuses on preserving Cayman's unique identity while addressing the real needs of its people, ensuring that Caymanians have a voice, opportunities, and a future in which they can thrive. Welcome, Mrs. Hunter.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we return, we'll begin the questioning for this evening. Please stay tuned.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Why is my bill higher? These days, it might seem like the cost of everything is going up here in Cayman. When it comes to your energy bill, this may be no exception. You may be wondering why your bill is higher when you haven't done anything different in your home. Here are some common factors that will increase your energy usage. As temperatures outside increase, your air conditioning unit has to run longer to keep your house cool, even if you haven't adjusted the thermostat. During the summer months, cooling your home can make up more than half of your energy bill. It's important to maintain your AC so that it can function as efficiently as possible. Changing your AC filters can also help with ensuring units are functioning properly. Remember, for every degree you turn up your thermostat, you can save on your monthly energy cost. Turn off your AC when no one is home. Thermostat should not be set any lower than 78 degrees. Also consider closing blinds and drapes on the sunny side of your home. This will help reduce the temperature inside your home. Remember to consider energy waste. Think about the items in your home that are using energy, like gaming computers and ceiling fans. Always unplug and turn these items off when they are not in use or needed. This will help you conserve. Now that you have some energy saving tips, you can track your consumption daily on MyCUC. Learn more at www.cuc-cayman.com.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for West Bay West. I'm now going to turn it over to Amari Corbin, who will ask Mrs. Hunter the first 4 questions.
Thank you, Will. Mrs. Hunter, question number 1. Why are you running in this election, and how do you intend to represent the people of West Bay West if elected?
Thank you. Good evening, Cayman, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting this debate. I am running for young people like Tamisha Haylock, who after graduating with honors in 2016 as a professional chef and 300 job applications later was unable to find a job in her chosen profession. She was later offered a job in the housekeeping department. They need a voice. I'm running for the many Caymanians who migrated to other countries because they did not have any opportunities in their own homeland. They need an advocate. I'm running for the young Caymanian entrepreneurs who endured in silence during COVID-19 because grants that should have been given to help them were given to foreign-owned businesses because our government felt that they were more deserving of those grants. They need a champion to fight for them. The incumbent has concentrated on his own self-preservation and legal battles and have not been able to fight for his constituency. Tonight, once again, he's not here to represent his people. Our people are sleeping under trees, in cars, on the beach, while we continue to import labor for their jobs. 37,000 work permits in order for the government to fund NAU. Tell me, Cayman, how does this make sense? This is absolutely unacceptable. That's lost dignity, lost opportunity, and a lost future for many of our people. For far too long, we have allowed the qualities of decency, honesty, integrity, and trust to be erased from this high office. And I think that it's high time that we put those qualities back into the office of Member of Parliament. We need leaders who will put the interests of Caymanians first before their own. And that is what I intend to do when I am elected. We must stop playing politics with our people's futures. We need leaders who will put our people's first, fight for our people, and get the job done. That's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. We'll move to question number 2. What are the top 3 national issues you would prioritize if elected, and why?
My 3 top national issues are cost of living, education reform, and immigration reform. Let's start with immigration. Immigration is out of control completely. I know you've heard this many, many times during this series of debates because we all know we're facing the same issues no matter where we are in Cayman. We need to urgently put a pause on status grants and permanent residency. We need to put a 2-year moratorium on certain classes of work permits. That's the first things we need to do in immigration. I mean, there's lots more, but that's just 2 things I'll mention. Then we need to reduce the fuel factor on the CUC bills and at the pump. This would help to alleviate some of the costs from our people. We also need to offer free health care, and that's what I will be pushing for, free health care for our seniors and our children. Gone are the days when we could take our children to the hospital and not have to worry about a bill. We also need to increase the minimum wage. 2 years later, after the committee gave $8.75 cost of living increase suggestion, this still has not been done. On education, we need to concentrate on early childhood education. We need trained teachers to start our children's education. This is when they're the formative years, and many of our preschools do not have trained teachers. They have assistants. This is simply not good enough. That's why we're failing at the early level. We need to do better on education. Then we also need to replace that level 1 diploma with a TVET certification. Our children, our young people need to come out of school having something that they can go into a job, some kind of certification that they can be placed in the jobs that we have in Cayman. We also need to make sure that we put a lot more funds, a lot more emphasis on vocational and apprenticeship programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. So the next 4 questions will be based on the Chamber pillar of advancing quality of life. And we'll start with question number 3. Are there adequate facilities and programs in West Bay West to support the elderly? What would you recommend to meet their needs better?
First of all, our elderly, a lot of times, are forgotten. Our elderly needs to have things like a shuttle service to pick them up from their homes and take them to get their medication. Many times they have to wait in line at the clinic. So the clinic needs to be upgraded. That's one. Because the clinic staff, I've heard a lot of good reports. I mean, we simply love Dr. Christian and the staff there, but it's come a time when we need to expand. Many times seniors come and they have to wait in line, they have to wait outside. There's just such a lineup. So to me, this is not good for a senior. We need to make sure that once they're there, they can get tended to, and then there's someone to take them back. If they need medication, we need to be able to make sure that though they're picked up or their medication is delivered. You know, they're the people that built this island. At this stage of their life, they should be able to relax. They should be able to be taken care of. Another thing that is sorely lacking is a center where they can go in West Bay and relax and have programs that will stimulate their mind. You know, a lot of them still like to do the thatch work and like to do puzzles and like to do different things to attract their attention and make them feel whole. We need to have a place where we can house our seniors instead of having to one week they're this way, the next week they're in another place. We need to have our own designated place for our seniors. So no, I think that there's different things that we can do to help our seniors. Another thing is that, like I mentioned before, healthcare is out of reach for most of our seniors. A lot of times they make a decision whether they want to go to the doctor, buy medication, or have those 3 meals a day. That's simply not good enough. We need to take better care of our seniors.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. So we'll move to question number 4, which would be the last question before the break. Given the Cayman Islands' heavy reliance on imported food, what specific policies or initiatives would you support to enhance local food security and mitigate vulnerability to global supply chain disruptions?
Can you ask the question again, please?
Will do. Given the Cayman Islands' heavy reliance on imported food, what specific policies or initiatives would you support to enhance local food security and mitigate the vulnerability to global supply chain disruptions?
That's a great question. Just recently, we have seen all of the tariffs that have been being passed in the USA, and we know that most of our food comes from the USA. We need to get better about the security, the food security on the island. Take, for instance, eggs. We have a lot of local suppliers that can supply eggs, but just recently the price of feed went from $6 to $18 a bag. So then eggs had to be, the price of eggs went up, not drastically, but it had to be increased. Those are the kind of things that I think that we need to concentrate on. We need to incentivize our local suppliers more. We need to make sure that they're supported. We need to make sure that if we need to give them incentives, then we need to do that. We also need to look for other avenues, other ways that we can bring in food from regional partners instead of just having food from the United States. We need to look for our Caribbean. I know that many times before we tried or we sent teams to different Caribbean jurisdictions to see if we could get food and have routes instead of just having everything from the United States. So those are the kind of things that we need to do to make sure that we are not just dependent on the United States for our food supply.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Hunter. We've gone through the first 4 questions. It's now time for a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
EV public charging can be a bit tricky to navigate if you're new to the game. But fear not. Here's a little 101 on all things public charging at your CUC charge station. The first tip is to get the mobile app up and ready on your phone before you charge your EV at the charging location. You can scan the QR code to load the app from sitting in your car. Download the mobile app, register a charge account, load money into your charge wallet. You must have a minimum of US $5 balance in your charge wallet to begin a charging session. Scan the QR code again to start a charging session using this charger. You can also enter the station ID number into the app. Follow the instructions on the mobile app to initiate your charging session. Now you're ready to charge your EV. Select either the right or the left charge plug. Plug your car in and make sure it shows as charging on your dashboard. Charging for 1 hour will give you up to 35 miles of charge. Charging to 80% optimizes battery life and reduces the risk of overcharging. So in that time, you can shop or go to work or chat with fellow EV owners. It's a real community out there. Great to see you, Maya. Happy charging, everyone. See you on the road.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for West Bay West. Gone through the first 4 questions, and now we're going to continue on the Chamber pillar, advancing quality of life. I'll be asking those questions to you, Mrs. Hunter, and we're going to begin with the topic affordable housing. West Bay is the 2nd largest district in Grand Cayman, with rising property prices and general cost increases. What are your specific recommendations for improving access to affordable housing in West Bay?
First of all, one of the things that we really need to do is we need to remove the property ownership requirement from the permanent residency approval process. We need to mandate leasehold sale of raw land for non-Caymanians versus freehold. This will eliminate land banking by non-residents. This is what's making our land so expensive, and our young people cannot afford a piece of land in their own country. We need to reintroduce the guaranteed mortgage scheme with the commercial banks. I understand right now that it's only with the CIDB, and previously the government had a guaranteed house mortgage loan program with the commercial bank. So I think that would make a big difference for Caymanians owning a home if we could go back to that arrangement with the commercial banks. We also need to focus on affordable housing. And to do this, we need to provide incentives to our local contractors, ensuring that the cost savings are passed down to our Caymanians. We also need to streamline the approval process. Now there's a lot of red tape, building control, regulations, so young people get frustrated. And, there's a lot of also expense just in the approval process. Is very, very expensive. And I think that government could do something to streamline that and help our Caymanians in this regard. Also, we need to make sure that we look for unconventional methods of housing, like building multi-story complexes, which would house many, many families instead of just always thinking that each person has to have a piece of land. Also, I think another thing we could do is explore an innovative financial tool like a 30-year fixed rate government bond, so that this would allow the local banks to be able to offer fixed term mortgages instead of every time the U.S. rate fluctuates, then the mortgage rate fluctuates, and it causes a steep rise in the mortgage payment for Caymanians. Thank you.
So the next topic under the Chamber pillar, Advancing Quality of Life, will be crime. And the question is, are you concerned about the level of crime in West Bay? If yes, what strategies would you recommend to address the increase?
Yes, I am concerned about the level of crime. At my first political meeting, I was so shocked to hear that right in front of one of my constituents' home, their son's car had been completely dismantled during the night. When they woke up the next morning, there was no tires, no rims, half of the engine was gone, right in the yard, and nobody saw anything, nobody heard anything, just taken to pieces. So I think that we need to get back to providing financial incentives to attract local police officers. This would bring back the days of community policing, and that would break the trust gap. I think right now there's a huge trust gap between the officers that we are now employing and the Caymanian people, and they're not getting that trust to be able to help solve the crimes. Also, I think that we need to look at crime prevention strategies. So many times we concentrate on after the crime is committed, but we need to prevent the crime from happening. And for this, we need to address the root causes of crime. And we all know that education, employment, and social support is what would help to prevent those crimes. We need to be, in other words, proactive rather than reactive. We need to, in my opinion, reduce the overseas hiring of officers as they do not relate to the Caymanian culture. And then we need to update more CCTV coverage with AI tracking, and similar to the UK model. I mean, wherever you go in the UK, there's a camera on you. As a criminal, you will get caught in the UK. And then I think also we need to remember that we need to put in place tougher penalties for repeat offenders. Thank you.
The next pillar that we'll discuss is the building a future-ready workforce. And there's going to be the final two questions in this round will be dealing with that pillar. So the first one deals with vocational and technical training. Is enough being done to support Caymanians pursuing vocational and technical education and training? And what reforms would you recommend to improve the current situation and encourage more Caymanians to pursue meaningful careers in these fields successfully?
First of all, I think that we really need to implement a national workforce development plan. We need to work with industry leaders in education and government to match Caymanians to the jobs of the future and the jobs that we already have. Then we also need to retool our Caymanian young people to be able to qualify for the high-paying jobs in technology, such as the engineers and the cybersecurity analysts. Apart from that, we need to start earlier with vocational training. Right now, I understand it starts at year 10, year 11. No, we need to make sure that from year 6 and 7, the children that are more inclined to go to vocational jobs instead of tertiary education need to be earmarked so that we can train them in a specific way. It's my understanding that SciFec was meant to be a TVET school. I do not understand why that has not happened. So many of our young people are coming out without any kind of certification at all. So, in my opinion, that level 1 diploma that they're graduating with has very, very little meaning. They can't do very much with that. And if we would replace that with a TVET certification so that they would come out with some sort of certification. I mean, we have many Caymanian good entrepreneurs that we could use in this field. I think of people like Mr. Errol Sims, Mr. Mervyn Smith. You know, I keep mentioning those names because they are people. Mervyn is an excellent plumber. He could be training our young men in that vocation. Mr. Errol is an excellent cabinet maker. He could be training our young people in the cabinet school. That's just 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. But no, enough is not being done for vocational careers in our schools, and we need to start it much earlier. That's what's happening. It's starting too late, and we don't have the amount of career counselors coming early enough with the children. If we have more career counselors coming early and more career days where parents, children, educators, everybody comes together so that we can identify those children that need to go in those vocational directions, then it would be much better for our children.
So the final question in this round, again under the Chamber pillar, Building a Future-Ready Workforce, deals with immigration reform. So what proposals in the immigration white paper do you support or oppose? And please explain your position.
The immigration white paper, the only really reform that I saw in there or position that I agreed with is that they were going to bring back the Caymanian protection law, because for too long, ever since we lost that Cayman protection law, Caymanians have been at a severe disadvantage. It's like we don't have anyone to fight for us as Caymanians. Our voice does not matter. Apart from that, I think that we need to do much more for immigration. I said already, and I'll say it again, we need to remove that property ownership requirement from the PR application process. We need a mandate that government is held to the same hiring rules as the private sector. There should be no loopholes for government. You should not be able to work for government and then go straight to PR from a government contract. No, that is just absolutely incredible that you can get that easy pathway. So we need to take out those loopholes that let people go straight to citizenship. We also need to put a moratorium on certain classes of work permits. There are many Caymanians who are unemployed and they can do the job, but they're not getting jobs. We have a lot of unscrupulous practices in immigration that need to be rooted out. We have unscrupulous employers. We have many people here that are on work permit that should not be here because we have Caymanians that can take those jobs. I mean, why are we bringing in Caymanians to sit at the front desk? Caymanians to pump gas? All of these little jobs that we're bringing in people for. I mean, I know that we need to hire them for higher paying jobs as well, but we should not have people in those kind of jobs. Look at our airports. Look at all of our tourism points. Every single one of them should be touched with a Caymanian. Who better to sell our island? Who better to let tourists know what we're all about than a Caymanian? So we need to strengthen that. We need to strengthen the enforcement arm of work by equipping officers to weed out corruption within the permit sector, and that is currently being abused by unscrupulous employers. Like I said before, those are some of the things that I would do.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. We've gone through 8 questions now, and we're going to take another short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy saving tips from CUC so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for West Bay West. Gone through 8 questions so far. Now we're moving on to the next chamber pillar, sustaining economic success, and I'll turn those questions over to Mr. Corbin.
Thank you, Will. Mrs. Hunter, question number 9 will be on water sports and marine resources. Many West Bay families rely on water sports for their livelihood. Do you believe that the North Sound's marine resources, such as Stingray City, are well managed and protected? And if not, what would you recommend to improve these precious resources?
Repeat the question, please.
Will do. Many West Bay families rely on water sports for their livelihood. Do you believe that the North Sound's marine resources, such as Stingray City, are well managed and protected? And if not, what would you recommend to improve these precious resources?
First of all, I do not believe that they're well managed. I was talking to one of my constituents just yesterday, and he was mentioning that he has even come out of, he was one of the first boat captains to explore the Stingray City and to make that into a major attraction. And he had to leave because of competition. So I don't believe that we are getting a fair share in that industry. There are many, many Caymanian seamen that we have always been boat captains, we have always been sea captains, and I feel that we need to do a better job at managing places like Stingray City. It's almost taken over with the bigger businesses, and the locals are kind of left to just get the dregs, as the old people would say. I feel that a lot of times we bring in permits. I mean, I used to sit on the Immigration Department board, and there's applications coming in right, left, and center for deck hands. Why do you need to bring in work permit for deck hands? I mean, which Caymanian that born and raised in Cayman couldn't be a deck hand? You know, I mean, we've known the sea all of our lives. So no, it's not being managed, and we need to do a much better job. And I go back again to the fact that if we would stop importing labor for jobs that Caymanians can do, we would be much better off as Caymanians. But we do not have the government is not fighting hard enough for its people. We're just not. So we need to get better at managing those marine resources.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. We'll move to question number 10, which is on the Government Accountability Scorecard. If elected, would you support working with the Chamber of Commerce to develop a Government Accountability Scorecard that provides the public with regular updates?
Yes, I would definitely support that, because accountability seems to have gone out of the door. First of all, I believe that as members of Parliament, we should be, on day one, We should have a strong code of conduct with consequences, and we should hold our elected representatives accountable for any breaches. Accountability is something that we need to take much more seriously in our island. We need to mandate time-sensitive performance audits and key performance indicators across all ministries and publicize when those reports are due so that the public will know, okay, we have a report coming out, let's be looking for that. You can't say that a report is due every quarter and at the end of quarter one, you don't get that report till quarter two. No, we need to make sure that we are being held much more accountable in our government. We need to also make sure that we digitize and streamline our government processes so that we can reduce delays, red tape, and we can also cut costs. I feel that we need to introduce public reporting for ministries to also increase transparency. Right now, it's almost as if government ministers can do approvals, get things approved without even letting anyone know that they're being approved. I've heard of these slush funds where you can just do transfer payments. You can pay for tickets for your friends, airline tickets, you can pay for parties, you can pay for anything so long as it's done by a transfer payment. All of these kind of things need to stop. We're not being transparent. That's why so many times we're running out of money and we have to do so much borrowing as a government because the money that we should be using for essential services and to build up our people are being used for things that we don't see value for. Look at this Cayman school, for instance. This is just unbelievable that we could have all of our ministers agree to pay 50 and 60 million for a school to house 200 students. This is completely unacceptable. And if we had more transparency, if the residents or Caymanians knew what was happening, I'm sure there would have been much more of an outcry before this was approved.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. We'll move on to question number 11, which is on cruise tourism. Many have argued for and against the construction of a cruise berthing facility in Georgetown. This would also have a direct impact on the Cayman Turtle Center's operations if a new funding model is not implemented. Do you support the cruise referendum? Why or why not?
I support the cruise referendum because my husband and I raised 3 children on cruise tourism. My husband was a tour operator for many, many years, and that's how we raised our children. So I know well the importance of cruise tourism. I know also that that 60% of the Turtle Farm's revenue is derived from cruise tourism. So I know that would be a great impact if we were to lose that. We know that it's been declining consistently. We know that the Turtle Farm employs over 100 Caymanians. So we need to find ways to make sure that the Turtle Farm is kept afloat. I know that government heavily subsidizes it now, but we need to make sure that it is kept afloat because it is very essential. That has been one of our pillars of tourism in our country, and we cannot afford to lose it. We need to make it, I was saying, even things like going to educational tourism, like making it a world-class oceanic research center. Also, I think that we need to focus on more domestic tourism at the Turtle Farm, like reopen the Cayman facades. I was there a few weeks ago and noticed that they're all closed. Why can't we open those facades back and have people like Miss Marcianne and Miss Lizzie come and display their art, encourage more cultural offerings, at the Turtle Farm so that the tourist experience could be enhanced and then more locals would want to support. Also, I know in my many travels, I've had many cultural dining experiences around the world. And that's something that I think that we could look at bringing to the Turtle Farm so that we could keep that afloat, so that we wouldn't have to just depend on the tourism from the cruise ship. And those cultural dining experiences, left a lasting impression on me, and I'm sure that that's something that could also be successful if we incorporated that into the offering of the Turtle Farm. But yes, I agree with continuing with cruise berthing.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. I will move to question 12, which will be the last question for the night, and it'll be based on coastal setbacks. Should Cayman implement a coastal setback policy based on scientific projections of sea level rise? And how would you address the impact on existing developments along 7 Mile Beach and West Bay?
Can you read that question again, please?
Will do. Should Cayman implement a coastal setback policy based on scientific projections of sea level rise? And how would you address the impact on existing developments along 7 Mile Beach and West Bay?
Yes, I think it's high time that we address this issue. I mean, 7 Mile Beach is our pristine, was our pristine beach, is something that we treasured, and now we're standing to lose a lot of it. So whatever we need to do to protect it, we need to advocate for enforcing eco-friendly development practices, including eliminating seawalls and development on our shorelines. I would be all for that. I think that whatever we can do to make sure that our beach is protected, we must do. We also should mandate a private-public partnership with businesses and like hotels on 7 Mile Beach to tackle the beach erosion. I don't think that this should just be a government project. I mean, they're all benefiting from it, and I think that we need to work hard on getting the sand replenished. This has severely impacted our environment and our tourism product, and whatever we can do to get that replaced, we need to do. And then we also, going forward, need to mandate and enforce the findings of environmental impact assessments for all new developments. So many times we do these and then we don't adhere to them, or we don't have them at all. But I think going forward, after we've seen what's happening to our environment now, we need to make sure we do that. I grew and raised in Northwest Point, where you could see the beach, you could see the water. Now it's just a concrete jungle. Why have we allowed all of this development, and the development has not been for Caymanians? We need to get back to practices and doing things on our island that is for Caymanians. So we need to lead with the question in our minds, is this good for the Caymanian people? And if it's not, then the answer to our decisions should be no. But so many times as leaders, I find that we're quick to pander to the high-rise buildings, the developers that want these. We're quick to just cave in. No, I think that we need to be more firm and more strict and say what's good for us as a people, what's good for our Caymanians, what are we getting out of this, who are we developing for? And that would be my stance to say, is this good for Cayman and Caymanians?
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. We've gone through 12 questions. That's the final question for the evening. When we return, we'll have your closing remarks and also closing remarks from President Omari Corbin. Please stay tuned.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Why is my bill higher? These days, it might seem like the cost of everything is going up here in Cayman. When it comes to your energy bill, this may be no exception. You may be wondering why your bill is higher when you haven't done anything different in your home. Here are some common factors that will increase your energy usage. As temperatures outside increase, your air conditioning unit has to run longer to keep your house cool, even if you haven't adjusted the thermostat. During the summer months, cooling your home can make up more than half of your energy bill. It's important to maintain your AC so that it can function as efficiently as possible. Changing your AC filters can also help with ensuring units are functioning properly. Remember, for every degree you turn up your thermostat, you can save on your monthly energy cost. Turn off your AC when no one is home. Thermostat should not be set any lower than 78 degrees. Also consider closing blinds and drapes on the sunny side of your home. This will help reduce the temperature inside your home. Remember to consider energy waste. Think about the items in your home that are using energy, like gaming computers and ceiling fans. Always unplug and turn these items off when they are not in use or needed. This will help you conserve. Now that you have some energy-saving tips, you can track your consumption daily on MyCUC. Learn more at www.cuc-cayman.com.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for West Bay West. We've gone through 12 questions this evening. Now we reached the time where our candidate, Mrs. Julie Hunter, will deliver her closing remarks.
Thank you. I have worked hard all my life to maintain a good character and a good name, and I have given over 40 years of public service to my country. I know that I have the best interests of my Caymanian people at the forefront of this decision to run for office. I will always remember the voters who had confidence in me and elected me, and I will work hard every day to maintain that trust and ensure that I do the job to the best of my ability. Under the present leadership, West Bay West has been forgotten, and the morale of our people is at an all-time low because of the lack of progress in our district. We have been called the forgotten district, and rightly so. All we have gotten for the past 12 years have been promises, Christmas parties, a few pounds of beef, and handouts periodically. West Bay West, is this good enough for you? The needs of our community, however, like our high school, our new police station, our multipurpose civic center, to name a few, none of these have materialized. I am therefore of the opinion that experience does not equal good leadership, and career politicians are just that. They're in it just to make a career and for personal gain instead of serving our people who elected them. Our current MP for West Bay West brags about his strong, stable leadership. However, I beg to differ. The last 12 years has been anything but stable for him. This election, it's not about who has the loudest bully pulpit or who has occupied the chair the longest. No, West Bay West, it's not about any of that. It's about character. It's about judgment. It's about integrity. And it's about choosing a leader that you can be proud of, one who reflects the best of all of us, one who you can look up to. West Bay West, I say, let's break the cycle of patriarchy, the rule of the father, and do not be fooled by idle threats that your seaman and other benefits will be taken away if he is not re-elected. Please don't be fooled. So, on April the 30th, West Bay West, be the change that you want to see. Give yourselves a better way forward. Give yourselves a new future. Vote for me, Julie Hunter, number 2 on your ballot paper. Thank you, and God bless you, Cayman Islands.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunter. I now turn it over to Mr. Amari Corbin for some closing remarks.
Thanks, Will. On behalf of the Chamber Council and staff, I would like to sincerely thank Mrs. Julie Hunter for participating in this evening's West Bay West Forum. I would also like to thank Ashley Furniture and Home Store, CUC, Foster's, and Logic for sponsoring the Chamber's candidate forums. Please join us tomorrow evening as we welcome the 2 candidates from West Bay South, Andre Ebanks and Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Please note that all forums will be posted to the Chamber's YouTube channel for your future reference. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow evening, and do have a wonderful night.
EV
EV public charging can be a bit tricky to navigate if you're new to the game. But fear not. Here's a little 101 on all things public charging at your CUC charge station. The first tip is to get the mobile app up and ready on your phone before you charge your EV at the charging location. You can scan the QR code to load the app from sitting in your car. Download the mobile app, register a charge account, load money into your charge wallet. You must have a minimum of US $5 balance in your charge wallet to begin a charging session. Scan the QR code again to start a charging session using this charger. You can also enter the station ID number into the app. Follow the instructions on the mobile app to initiate your charging session. Now you're ready to charge your EV. Select either the right or the left charge plug. Plug your car in and make sure it shows as charging on your dashboard. Charging for 1 hour will give you up to 35 miles of charge. Charging to 80% optimizes battery life and reduces the risk of overcharging. So in that time, you can shop or go to work or chat with fellow EV owners. It's a real community out there. Great to see you, Maya. Happy charging, everyone. See you on the road.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.